Okay, there it is. With 3-inch spacing, I am at about right on the money at 30 inches. And I want to get both of these out of one piece here, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. And I'm going to cut them. I'm going to cut this as close to half as I can, so it'll be about 29 15/16 if I hit it on the money. And where I'll cheat is going to be up here with this top piece. It'll be a little bit shorter than what I actually planned for. Actually, these will probably shorten up a little bit too after I sand them. So it probably will end up being pretty close to being right on the money. So I think that'll work out well. Okay, we're getting closer. I like my spacing, 3 inches between the blocks. And you can see now what's going on here, how this is going to fit into these. I'm going to take this and just skim it with my router plane, because I'm very close to bottoming out here. And then if I have to, I'll sand it, but I'll try and get these dado blade grooves out. And I think other than that, rounding over the edges of these, trimming this flush. Oh, we're getting really close. Okay, my router plane did not work out too well after some terrorism, and that, lucky for me, it's going to be covered up. I've resorted to just hand sanding this on both sides, obviously. Alright, everything is done with 80 grit. Feels really nice, but I'm going to take and put on my 120 grit belt and just give it a light sanding on all these surfaces out here, and then maybe just lightly touch the sides. I don't want to take too much off the sides because that's got to run parallel. I don't want that to be dipping and jiving here, so that can always just be hand sanded right here. Alright, some more sanding. This won't take as long as the 80 grit belt did, but I got to do it and take and bring those scratch marks down a little bit, and then the rest will probably just be hand sanding. Well, one thing I forgot to mention is that this part right here of the belt where there's no backing plate is a nice place to just kind of hit these, and it really it's forgiving and puts a nice little finished sand on it rather than using this hard edge all the time. So this will be nice with 3-inch spacing. I've got this flush to the bottom, and then up here I've got probably maybe 3/16 to a quarter left over that I'll trim flush, and then flush up these sides, and we're looking really good here. I like the way it's turning out. if this one would have turned out like this one did here when I made those rabbits, I ended up with some nice, a nice ply, I guess I'll say, that was revealed there. But on this side I ran into a knot here and one up here up here as well. So I'm going to cover it up. I can't let it go like that, even though I'm not going to get a lot of money for this. I know my nephew doesn't have a lot of money, but that's okay. So I'm going to put in some cherry, some thin piece of cherry that I have here. Laminate that in there. So I'll just bandsaw it down the middle. Got enough to do both sides for this one, and then another piece for the other one. So I'll add a little color, and I think it'll look a little better as well. Well, it'll look a lot better. But they turned out pretty good, so far here. I'm happy with the look, and they sanded up nice and clean. So I think once I get some, I'm just going to put some shellac on these. Once I get some shellac on there, and I could fill this whole gap in here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put in a thin strip, thickness of a couple plies. I don't mind this exposed edge here because I've got exposed ply throughout the project. I guess you didn't see that. I'm going to put this, I was saying I could cover this whole thing up here, but I'm just going to put it in it's probably the thickness of 2 plies, maybe 2.5, and leave this exposed because I've got plies exposed throughout the project. And it's easy to get perfect results with my shooting board. And then what I'm doing when I put these in, I'm putting a slight back bevel on this so that I make sure that it goes nice and tight to the inside. Now, before I knew I was going to do this idea, I had rounded over these edges, but I think that I can come up with something to make that work as well. We'll see how it looks once I get it flushed up. So one down and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 to go. There you have it, one with the jug and one without. I like this right here. This is pins go in and out easily. What I did was I just ran a dowel through there and kind of burnished those holes, and that gave me just enough clearance. We'll have to see how it works once I get the finish on there. And these clips, I might expand these a little bit more. I don't want them to be that hard to pull off. So that one's not too bad. Anyway, I can just pry those apart a little bit to get them so you just want them to just barely clip on there. That's it. But I like the look. So we'll see what it looks like, I should say, and how it turns out once I get some shellac on there. I've decided to leave this alone, even though it's not the greatest, but it'll work. I think with the cherry there, the dark line and the dark cherry, it'll blend in a little bit.